How are you? Today I am gonna tell you about advanced CSS property transition. As you can see in the right of your screen, here is a box to which I have applied a transition. I will tell you today the secret behind this animation and the techniques we can use in transition property, and we can animate anything in CSS. So let's now get started. Before we go any further in the depth of this video, it is very important to know that what are we gonna talk about and what that thing we are gonna discuss. So we are gonna discuss about CSS transition code. First of all, what is animation? Animation is anything, the movement of images, text, the divs you created on your website design in different ways by using different techniques at different angles. So animation is also changing positions of your element. An element may be an image, text, or any div you create in your website. How can we animate anything? There are initially and mainly there are two ways to animate anything in a web design. The first thing is the transition property or through the transition property. The second thing is the keyframes. The first one, transition property, we are gonna cover in this video, and the techniques and how actually it works we are gonna discuss. This is the transition property syntax. This is the element in the blue color, any element on which you want to create any animation. This is the transition, and there are four values or four parameters of transition property. As you can see, the first value is the property, the second is the duration, and third is, fourth one is the delay. The property parameter is the type of transition you want to apply on the element. So there are different kind of properties of transition properties which you can apply to your element. The second one, duration, is the time of the transition occurs. How much time the transition will occur. This is the duration. The third one is the if. When your transition occurs, how it takes place with time. There are different ease. For example, ease in, out, ease in, ease out. We will discuss further. The fourth one is the delay. Delay means how much time will it take to start the transition. This means before starting the transition, what time will you want to give. Let's now move towards the practical example. For example, here is any element and I have applied a transition. The first one, as we have discussed, was the property. We have applied a transition of property opacity. 300 milliseconds is the duration of the transition. It will take place, the transition will take place 300 milliseconds. Easy in out is the way of the transition will take place during the time. And 1 second is the delay time, which means it will wait for 1 second, then the transition will occur. I hope you understand these techniques and these confusions between these four parameters of transition. Guys, there are some things you can animate. There are also some things you cannot animate. For example, you can animate font size of your text, background color, left, width, position, rotation of your image, div, scale of your any div, and opacity. You can easily animate these kind of properties. But there are also some kind of properties you cannot animate. For example, display and font size. You cannot animate display and font size because the display. Have you ever seen that the display of an navbar or anything converts or animated from inline block to block and font size from 14 pixels to 32 pixels? So this can't happen. You cannot animate the display and font size of your things. For example, image, text, and any div you want to animate. Guys, before going to practical example, there's one more important thing, which is in animation of transition property, we have to target something. The trigger is very important, which is the shadow class. where I will give you an example. You will understand that what and at which time or which place you want to animate your transition. You have to set it, you have to target that thing. For example, let's now get towards our practical example. As you have seen, I have created a box with a class of box, and I have given a height and width of 150 pixels and background color of pink. You can see at the right of your screen I have created a pink box. So we will animate it. Let's just now start. I will give a animation command here. Transform, translate. Translate means move 150 pixels here and 150 pixels here. So we have given the command that the box will move 150 pixels to the left and 150 pixels to the bottom. And we can also give here another property, which is rotate. We will rotate it 20 degrees. As you can see, it has fulfills our requirements, and it has moved its position and rotate. What is the deficiency here? Because we haven't yet set any target here. When will this animation will occur? So for that we will use a transition property, and as you have discussed the syntax, we will give here we'll call here the transform property, and the time of 300 milliseconds, width is in, which we have discussed the syntax of our transition property. So let's see what now happens. As you can see, there is nothing the additional movement in your box. You have set this transform to 300 millisecond with the is in out, but you haven't set that when will transition or when will this animation will occur. So we will set this shadow selector or set this animation on box on hover. So we want this animation when the user will hover the box. Just now copy this or cut this, and we will move here that this will occur on hover. Just now check our box. Let's hover over the box. As you can see, we have targeted the hover shadow class. When you will hover the box, it will animate or it will transit according to our command. So in this way you can control or set your target animation of your box or any class. So there's one more trick. For example, I will create one more div before the box class with the class of trigger, and this div will be closed after my box div. So I will now design this trigger, and before my box CSS with the height and width of same, and you can copy it from here, and background will be black, and you can set a background according to your desire. Put a border of solid gray. Just now save it, and as you can see, it has created a div, and our box is animated according to our given commands, and our new div trigger is below this box. So now you notice that when we hover this animated box, this don't or this ain't came back. So for this purpose we will use a property pointer events, but first of all we are gonna trigger our trigger box. For example, first of all I will give a trigger command here that when the hover on the trigger, then what will it do? It will show the box. Let's now check it. As you can see, it seems to be the same animation, but there is a difference. It is now working when we hover over the trigger div. Then the box will move. For this at this position, if we want the box to come back, we will give here a property pointer events none. So as you can see, when we hover over the trigger property, the box is animated and move its position. But when we hover over the animated box, it came back. So in this way you can control your animated box. I hope you guys enjoy and understand my point of view regarding the transition property, the way it works, the technique of what the behind this transition property technique is applied. You can also ask me anytime if you feel any query. I hope you understand the transition property and the target element when we targeted this hover shadow class. There is one more thing. For example, you can just inspect this box from here. As you can see, you just have to go to your box where you applied your transition, and this is the ease in. So this is the ease in lines and different ease properties. You can check this ease in and ease out properties from here and set according to your desire. As you can see, there is a little difference. Now the box is animated, and you can also set some settings from here. Let's just now check it. As you can see, it is first stuck and then moves, and you can also set some ease in properties from here. So guys, I hope you enjoy this video. If you feel any query, please feel free to contact me, and stay blessed for next